RSL Nation? Welcome back to the
Bro.
Pros. Oh man, you almost forgot.
It's okay. I don't forget.
You're like distracted by something. I don't know, but
I'm here.
um,
I'm here.
there's a lot of emotions going on. From
Good good emotions, bad emotions.
last night emotions, um, pre-episode emotions. There's gonna be emotions in this episode. There's just a lot of emotions going on. So
So bring your tissues. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe because
Tissues are possibly required while listening to this episode.
I mean, maybe not for me, maybe for others, but let's start. Let's get our emotions checked out. So we're gonna
Okay.
start off with the how are you, Marcos, doing? Not only post game, but how was your day today?
Um, I'm doing better since yesterday. We'll get more into that as this episode goes along. Not in too much sorrow. Not in post. I'm not crying yet. I'm doing good, but today I refed a pretty doozy of a game. A girl snapped her leg and she broke her ankle.
Please tell me that the whoever did it got a red card.
Well, what happened was the girl jumped up, ball drilled her in the stomach, and as she was coming down to land, she landed awkwardly on her ankle. Ankle popped, and felt so bad for her. So,
That's disgusting.
and
Oh man.
what was worse? This was a JV game too.
Oh no. Oh man. Oh,
Yeah.
I had that happen once in when I played, except our guy he snapped the guy's leg. So,
Yeah, and
anyways,
I was the center for that game, and I was standing right next to when it happened. I could hear. I was like, nope, nope, don't like that, don't like that. And I called over the trainer, and I was like, nope, I'm calling the game. Game over. I'm going home.
how early did you call it?
There's 5 minutes left in the game.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that you had that kind of a day. My day was a little more chill than yours.
Yeah,
So,
no ankles, no kids snapping ankles.
nope, just kids just being kids today. So, there, we got our today's emotions in check.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
let's start with last night. Well, yeah, let's start with last night. So, we're not going to start with our game first because we still need to resolve some emotions. So, we're going to start off with that Cincy Miami game. We're going to go over briefly
For
because
sure.
there's a lot of feelings in the other game. So,
Absolutely.
give us the recap on the Cincy Miami.
Yeah, so this game had everything. I'm sorry, I'm just pulling that one up. Yeah, so we had Lucia Acosta scoring right off first, right before halftime, and then Cincinnati goes up 2-0. And then with about 20ish minutes left in the game, and then it was the Campana show. Campana literally had a brace, but not just a brace. He had Messi to help him out there.
Messi had a an assist brace.
Messi had an assist brace to help out Campana. Literally 97th minute. Whew, it doesn't come any more clutch than that for Miami. Right at the
So
deadlock.
this was what kind of freaked me out about this game. Was Miami's down 2-0,
Mm-hmm.
and all of us thought crap. Well, we thought crap because this was pre RSL game. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're thinking crap. Down 2-0? Nah, they're not coming back. This since he's finally showing that they're a first place team and Miami's finally being put in their spot.
Exactly. Exactly. I thought because that's the reason Cincinnati is leading the supporter shield right now is because they are the most dominant team with the players they have in Acosta and Vasquez, and they showed that in that first half and then up until that second goal, and then Campana and Messi thought otherwise.
Well, Messi appears when he wants to appear,
He does. He does.
and when he appears, he makes it known to everyone. So great first assist, but that second assist for the game tying goal in the 97th minute, literally, we're looking at the clock. There's 30 seconds left.
There he
Um,
is.
flip. I think I saw multiple camera angles, and that ball look. I mean, I want to say this. It looked like just a lobbed in cross. It just that's what it looked like.
Hmm.
But no, Messi has eyes like he has the Hawkeye. He has camera angles inside of his head from everywhere,
Right.
and he knew that Campana was making a run in.
They're just reading each other so well. Just the chemistry they have between both those players, and they've only been playing with each other for less than a month, about that, give or take. So the chemistry that he has with all his players, from Campana to Robert Taylor to Joseph Martinez, is on point. Like, you got to give it to that man, world class. So Campana, clutch goal, 97th minute. This game then goes into extra time, wherein Joseph Martinez does what Joseph Martinez does, scores, gives Miami the lead in the 93rd minute, which was kind of a shock to begin with that Martinez didn't start this game. He came off the bench. Um, and then fast forward 114th minute, Cincinnati thought otherwise. They're like, no, we're not done here. Not quite yet. We have other plans. So Yaya Kubo came off the bench and tied this up. 114th minute, super clutch at home in front of your fans. So that was something else.
Yeah. PKs. So Miami again goes to PKs,
Yeah,
and yet again, Calendar saves the day.
he didn't just say that. He was epic.
So that one save that he had, first off, horribly taken PK.
Yeah,
Um, but
it was
made
it was
this,
practically a pass.
yeah, made the save nonetheless. And then Kremaski, um, with the game winning PK.
What more can you say about Kermansky? The dude's 18 years old. He had a great tournament, coming in clutch with the weight of the club on your shoulders to punch the ticket into the finals, and he did that.
Yeah. So, um, great. Messi is in another final. Miami's in another final. Um,
The chance to win two trophies in one season.
yeah, because it's probably going to be the only that's all they're going to win this season.
Yeah. I think that's their only goal, their only priority. They're like, we don't care about the regular season. We got League Cup, and now we're possibly about to win Open Cup. They're like, perfect, check.
Actually, if we didn't have so many heavy emotions in the next topic, we'd probably get into the fact that Messi probably, and well, I shouldn't say Messi. This is not inner Messi. This is inner Miami. Um,
That's true.
they're talking about how the odds of Miami now winning MLS Cup has gone up a lot.
I think I saw today the Vegas odds have them at 750. So, but if you look at the standings in the East, they're still 14 points out from that ninth spot. So a lot of things obviously have to happen. Some teams have to lose, some teams have to draw in order for them to jump those places. They do play the New York Red Bulls in New York on Saturday, which New York has been struggling. They're not the greatest of teams, so possibly that could be their little journey to climb up to that ninth spot.
I don't know because they're talking about Messi being fatigued right now,
Yeah,
so
they
Messi
they
might not
have
even travel.
they have played a ton of games. This will be their third game in about a week. So
This would be 8 straight games for Messi in 3-ish, 4-ish weeks. So it's a lot. But nevertheless, we'll leave that topic to rest because, well, we've talked a lot about Messi in the past couple weeks,
we have
and
you guys are probably sick of that, but we do love Messi. Alan does more than anybody in this world.
um, like I said, if we didn't have so many heavy emotions in the next game, we would probably still be talking on this for about another who knows how long.
For
But
sure, for sure.
let's get into this next topic with the preface of there's a lot of emotions that everyone is feeling. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna try to help organize this, and I'm gonna ask you questions, and let's just take this one step at a time because
Absolutely,
this is a semifinal that had a lot of implications, a lot of them. But
absolutely, absolutely.
with that, I'm gonna ask you, we know what we predicted before. We know what we talked about, but
Yeah.
let's just remind us What were your thoughts of RSL coming into this game?
Pre lineup, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, yes, coming up to game day, what were your thoughts about RSL coming into this game?
I honestly was very nervous. The fact that Houston coming off a 5-0 win at home, for us, we haven't played in 2+ weeks, so we don't really have that chemistry. Yes, we've been practicing, but there's a difference between practicing and playing. So this was first game without Pablo Ruiz. So I wanted an actual game with Palacio or Loftuson to get that chemistry, to get that flow going before we play against Houston. So that's why I was very bummed out that that game again in LA had to get canceled.
Yeah, and that was my main concern. You know that.
Yeah.
Because I've been preaching this for a long time that
Hmm.
um you are game ready by playing other games. Practice is one thing, and we've all been on sports teams where when you practice, you're not you try to go 100%, but it's hard to replicate game-like situations at practice, playing against your own teammates that already know you, and you're also trying not to get injured
Yeah.
during practice. There's
100%.
a lot of factors. So
Yeah.
me coming into this game, I felt confident because of the players that we had, but at the same time, there was that nervousness of we're not game ready. We haven't played a game. Our game was unfortunately postponed on Sunday or canceled.
Yeah.
So coming into this game, my those were my thoughts of Houston's coming off of being game ready.
Yeah.
They blew out their opponents. That means that they have confidence,
Hmm.
and they played that game at home, and they're playing this game at home.
Hmm.
That is going to be killer. And not to mention the fact that I mentioned two different things that needed to be done. One was stopping their speed of play,
Hmm.
and two was stopping Basi and Artur from creating, passing, and creating outlets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so with that, um, well, I'm going to ask you this: what did you see on social media before the game? I mean, what kind of things were being said about this game that was coming up before?
Yeah, yeah. So obviously, with Miami winning, that kind of gave more hype and more optimism because with Miami winning, everybody knew we're like, oh my goodness, we just need to win this game. Then we obviously get Messi, which is an amazing thing. But we don't just get Messi; we punch our ticket to Champions League, which would be first time since 2016. So that's why on social media there was just that more boost of energy, that confidence, that's kind of splurging throughout everybody.
Yeah, we saw it not only on X because that's where we live the
Yeah.
most of the time, but we also saw it on Facebook as well. There's a
Hmm.
lot of people saying, "Yeah, we're gonna see Messi. Messi's coming to Utah." Um, I don't know about you. And maybe give me your thoughts on this. And actually, we're brothers. We might be sharing the same ideas here. But um, with the people being so focused on Messi coming to Utah, I think they lost sight of, or they put aside thinking, yes, it's obvious, but that we're this was for a final. This was a chance to go to a final. Leave aside Messi that was going to be coming. It could have we could have been totally hyped that Brandon Vasquez was coming or Acosta. I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
could have. Obviously, we
Could have.
weren't going to be,
Could have.
but I think the fact that everyone was focused on getting Messi to Utah and the opportunity to see the greatest player of all time in Utah, I think distracted us from the fact that this was a chance to go to a final.
Yeah. Uh, like yes, put aside that would have been great. That would have been awesome to see the world's greatest player. But for me, out of those two things, I was more focused and more excited for the fact of going to CONCACAF Champions because it's been 7 years since we've been there, which is a very, very long time. So that aside, that would have been icing on the cake if that would have happened.
In fact, here's a hot take for everyone.
Hmm.
I talked about this. I don't know if I mentioned it here on this program or not. I know I mentioned it with you and with a bunch of other people. But my biggest worry with Messi coming to the league, was that there was going to be an influx of artificial fans coming into the league, which I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
fine with people getting excited about soccer.
yeah. We saw that partially so far throughout League's Cup, and that's all he's played so far. But we've seen that a lot in his game so far.
Now, because of that, it's now infiltrated into the each of the clubs where you're starting to get people becoming more aware of Messi games or games that Messi could be playing against their team and not
Exactly.
focused on the team.
Hmm.
Um, but how do I say this? I don't think all that hype affected the players. I don't think that was what affected players. But
No,
I think the fact that I may get in trouble here, but I'm gonna say it anyways. And put the blame on me. This is where we started getting into fair weather fans. Whether like I'm only gonna go support Real Salt Lake, for instance, if Messi comes. I'm only gonna go to a game if Messi comes.
no,
Um,
I agree with that point where you're throwing it. I prior to all this, about 2 3 months back, I knew several people who didn't even know RSL was going on this season, but they knew Messi coming to the MLS, and they're like, "Oh, Messi might be coming to RSL in September if that does happen. Oh, sweet, sign me up. I'll be coming." Which, yes, that's cool. Like you said, we get those fans that are getting to love soccer in the US, but those aren't the actual fans that we want to see here in Utah.
I mean, maybe I wouldn't say I don't want to see them. Get them into the stadium, but
For
I
sure,
need
for
I
sure.
need them to love the club.
No, exactly.
I would love
Exactly.
them to have a seat all the time at America First. I need them there. I don't need them when RSL is only winning. I need them when RSL is winning, tying, losing, rain, snow, heat. I need them there for the club.
Raccoons.
Raccoons, cats, ducks, all of it. Um,
No,
and
exactly. Like we see that so often in not just RSL, but in every sport in Utah with the Jazz, with the Utes, with everything. They only come for X important game, but we need that for everything. Just to go back to those days of building this as our home base, as our fortress.
so with all that being said, because I could go on a rant, but
For sure, for sure.
with all that being said, there was excitement and a lot of confidence before this
Absolutely,
game started. So,
absolutely.
um, with that being said, let's go over the lineup that we had because there were
Oh,
changes and
oh boy.
and this there were. I mean, I was internally screaming when I saw some of these. I was like,
Yeah, yeah. So if we look at the back line is pretty much as we expected. Nothing out of the ordinary out right there. So we have Brody, Vera, Glad, Nelly, which that's a very strong back four. But then right then and there, when we get into the midfield, it kind of has a little scratching the head. Well, not really. We have Luna on the left, Loflison, who gets picked over Palacio, and then Ojeda, which is the obvious choice, and then Sava. Are you surprised that Loflison got picked over Nelson?
um, I am not sure I understand the strategy of choosing Lawfulson over Palacio.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is where I hate getting into these kind of muddy waters. I know I'm not the coach. I
Yeah,
know I'm not the one that makes the decisions, but
for sure.
I think I would have preferred Palacio over Ojeda only because Palacio seems to have a Beckerman-esque to himself, whereas he's like an enforcer. He will punish if he needs to punish.
So you would rather have seen Loflison and Palacio.
No, Ojeda, Palacio.
Ojeda Palacio, excuse me. And then up top we had Chicho and Kryluk, which still I'm still confused why Kryluk got the start. Like I mentioned on Twitter, that was Kryluk's first start since July 12th when we played on the road in Kansas City. I feel like if it's not broken, don't ruin it because Chicho and Moose have been having good chemistry together up top so far in Chicho's coming to the club.
I need you to tell me what are your thoughts for the reasons why Krylock was in this game particularly?
The only thing that I can think of is his seniority. That what he brings to this club, and that's the only thing I can think of because Moose right now he's up there and leading the club in goals, but I don't know. I'm still scratching my head as to why this decision.
Um,
I
I,
also, you guys might have seen on Twitter, I put out there what should have happened. I think we should probably go with a 4-3-3, having Luna in our midfield, having Luna, Ojeda, Sava, and then maybe Moose, Chicho, and then maybe possibly a Julio right there on the left wing. I mean, the right wing.
I mean, it's an option. I'm still stuck on this Krylock thing because
Yeah, me
as
too.
as many people know, I participated in the Rail podcast roundtable, whatever they called it, and one of my hot takes was we don't need Krylock anymore this season. He's done he's done the deed on the field. Let's get him into an off-field leadership position. Last night, after seeing last night, I'm still sticking with that because I did not see anything that Krylik could have done that could have improved, or any contribution of him would have improved that team.
it
Last,
just seemed throughout the whole match. Yeah, Kralek did not contribute. He was very MIA throughout the whole match. He only had 7 for 10 for 70% of his passes throughout the whole match. Well, throughout the 56 minutes that he was there, which is very embarrassing.
I mean, I mean, let's get into it. Okay, first
Absolutely.
half. First half, um, we're not looking impressive from the get-go. Um, the whole half, it just seemed the only thing I can think of, and sorry for today, I'm feeling lost with this game. Um, and I know on Twitter I said that let's just move on and stuff, but because we're in this, we're analyzing this. This is how I feel. Um, I felt the team was lost. Even with Krylock being on the field, and you're saying that he has leadership, it seemed like the leadership wasn't there in terms of um, pushing the boys forward. It
It,
was
it it seemed like with Pablo Ruiz out for the rest of the season, they needed somebody to fill that void because we don't know if Ojeda's ready for to fill that in. So it seemed like we need to put Krylock in to have that little leadership that Ruiz had.
Yeah, and this was a really tough one, only because Ojeda has the capability of doing the same thing as Pablo Ruiz.
Yeah,
I-
yeah,
If
absolutely.
if there's someone like Pablo Ruiz next to him.
Hmm.
It almost seems like Ojeda plays to the level of whoever's next to him.
Yeah, I see that. I see that.
I mean,
This is
because Ojeda didn't play horrible.
no,
He just didn't play good, right?
yeah, I yeah. Ojeda out of everybody on for our starters, him and Sava were the only ones who really seemed like they were there altogether. Everybody else just wasn't there fully.
Yeah. That's why I'm a loss of words for this team in the first half because there wasn't even connections. There weren't good connecting passes.
Yeah,
There weren't any good runs being made. The runs that were being made were being run um into the abyss. They're running into defenders like behind them, so not being open for passes. It it, it just felt like everything was just off. I mean, so I guess maybe I should preface this real quick before you mention it. We are looking at the game was in excessive heat, like there's a heat warning. So heat warning in Houston is not good.
no,
Um,
I was gonna mention because J Dog, who was on this episode on our show with us a couple of weeks back, he was actually in Houston last night, and he posted on Twitter and he said, for those of you guys don't know, it is humid and hot in Houston. It is actually a real thing, and that actually took a toll for the worst.
and so maybe I should preface with that, yeah, because we had the heat warning. We're missing Pablo,
Yeah,
and again we're going back. the 3 points that I made, and then also the we haven't played a game in 3 weeks. So with all that being said, I think the the heat really hit us hard that first half, heat and humidity, and that's why the sluggishness. There, like I said, there was points where Ojeda would have possession, or Brody would have possession on the wing, Luna would have possession on the wing, someone would have possession, and no one was checking to the ball. No
Hmm.
one was coming. No one was making a run. It was just, it was dead. I don't know how else to describe it. It was just dead. But I think it was because of the elements. The elements worked in the favor of Houston.
Yeah, yeah. I we talked about it a lot in our last episode that we need to stop their top six players in their attack, and nobody could really stop them because if you look at all six of those players, they had above 20, above 30 passes out of all of them, which is very sad to see that those top six players have that many passes.
Now, mind you, I don't mind the passes because if we're trying to conserve energy because of the environment, I don't
Hmm.
mind them having possession. But it was when we had possession, there was nothing fruitful coming from it because no one was making the right runs for a breakaway. No one was making the runs in order to be open, making triangle passes. There was nothing going on.
Do you think a part of that, well, yes, the heat and all that, but do you think a part of that has to do with the players that did start? Because with Krylak starting, Krylak and Chicho haven't started a game together, so they don't know how each other works up top. And and same with Loflison. Loflison hasn't really started playing with Saba, so I don't know if the chemistry was there at all. Do you think that had a part to do with it?
So let me give you a summarized version of a quote
Laid on me.
that Pablo said. So I think KSL had it on their website. It went something to the effect of that there were offensive players that were dropping too far down and they were crowding the midfield so that it was causing the midfield to not play to what we wanted as part of our game plan. My that How I interpret it is Krylock was the one that was dropping in too far. And if you
Yes.
saw Krylock was dropping in and into a defensive midfielder, or he was dropping way far back on one of the wings. In fact, I think when we were watching
It,
it,
it was the first half where I think you pointed it out to me and you're like, why is Kralak playing so far back? And I got very confused as well. He was playing right next to Ojeda and Loflison.
yeah, he dropped that far back, which if you look on FotMob's little what do you call it, formation chart,
Yeah, yeah.
it shows Krylik right above those midfielders. But in reality, we're playing a 4-4-2. We need
Yeah.
Krylik to be up at the top.
Which
Chicho
did it,
was literally,
yeah, it didn't help Chicho at all because he's literally playing up there all by himself.
I mean, I hate the fact that Chicho has been put in this situation where he's expected to be the goal scorer, and yet we can't even get a ball up to him. His forward companion is dropping back into the sixth position, the defensive midfield position. For what? If the play that you're mentioning, where I pointed it out,
Hmm.
there was no reason for Krylak to be back there. He dropped and he didn't even touch the ball. Like the
Yeah.
ball went to, I think,
He,
Lawfulson
he
or
he
Ojeda.
dropped he dropped back and never made a run to go back up top to go help out Chicho.
And that's what was so frustrating, was that it almost seemed like, granted, I feel like Krylak really wants to be the Krylak of old, but
I
I
think I think the karate Krylock and then the Krylock against Kansas City a couple of years back. I think those days unfortunately are over. Like it hurts me to say that, but I think that those days are kind of done.
it and speaking of I mean, if we're talking about those days being done, then it really feels like that whole first half we were playing a man down. That's what it
Yeah,
felt like,
it really
because
did.
because with Krylock, roaming around trying to find the ball. I'm going to assume that he was trying to find the ball. With him trying to find the ball and being out of position, it really felt like we were a man down.
It seemed like he was doing his best impersonation of Messi. How Messi just walks around.
I mean, yeah. And we actually, let me bring up a topic that was brought up on X a little bit later. So, end of this first half um, was a wild one.
Yeah,
Be, be,
284 passes for Houston to our 124.
well, I mean, not just that, but Houston had 2 goals at the end of that first half.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's get into the goals. I mean, you forgot that there was goals, right?
There were goals. Goals do change games.
So so we had Herrera's goal. Um, lay it on me. Do you remember what happened? No, you forgot. You have a
Late on,
you wanted to forget. You're like, I don't want to
I
remember
was
any of this.
I was like, it was a bad dream. It was a bad dream, honestly, my friend.
Well, when we were watching it together, your face the whole time was just you're just SMH the whole time. You're just like,
I I was watching it at Alan's house, in case you guys are wondering, and I wanted to punch a hole in his wall several times after every single one of Houston's goals.
thanks for not doing that because I don't know how to repair walls yet. Um, so this one was if I remember right, a cross in, but this was a Brody misclearing it. He
Yeah,
uh he tried to kick it through the middle.
that's right. That's right. So it was that bad touch by Brody that literally went right into the middle, right into the touch of Herrera, and then just slots it home. It's the same thing as Justin Glad against LAFC. It was literally kind of a turn, and it was not enough timing to literally boot it up field.
Well, this one was not. This wasn't even like enough time or anything. This was it was a bad first touch. That second touch just needed to be sent out for a corner kick. Just send it out. I
Or
mean,
just kick it off to the side over to the wings,
but
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 he just kicked it right down the middle.
but where was his body facing? You have to think this through. His body
He
was facing towards the middle.
yeah, he
How do you want
turned
him? How do you
well
want him to
he
kick it to the
turned his
outside?
yeah, he turned his body towards he's turning towards the center field.
Well, yeah, so yeah, he's turning towards the middle, okay, but he's also turning towards the middle and falling backwards.
Yeah.
How? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Me
There,
being,
there,
I was a defender for years.
yeah,
You're he
there's not much you can do.
he's not going to get a good clean hit on that. So
Yeah.
knowing that he got a bad first touch, he should have just let it roll out or kick it out for a corner kick. I know that he knows that in hindsight now. I know he does,
Yeah.
but I think in order to be on that next level, they need to start being aware of where they are, what the situation is. It would have been better just to give up a corner kick. It really would have been. You have a better shot of clearing it, keeper getting it, whatever. But clearing it to the middle, and on top of that, not even a high clearance. It was a mid body, lower body clearance.
It just seems like that's something you learn from the get go in soccer at a very young age. It's just never clear it in the middle, just clear it to the wings, or just give up that corner. But because of that, Acha Acha scores the first goal for the Dynamo.
And
But
that was the 50th minute too.
that was the 50th minute. Yeah.
Like
So,
like five
so
minutes into extra time.
yeah. So then a literally about I think a minute or so after that, Corey Baird then scores a goal, but they go to VAR to find out. Luckily, saving grace, it was offside.
But I still can't find where the offside is. I haven't seen any explanation today. So I think that it was a saving grace because all of
If
us know. All of us know.
if you guys see something that we don't, just let us know, because I watched it back today as well, and I'm still partially confused. I'm like, was it?
Yeah, it was that was the most confusing VAR. I mean, VAR has been confusing the past month between Leagues Cup and
And
now.
now Open Cup and then back to regular season, but
Yeah.
going into halftime down 1-0, it was something like we'll take it. We will take it. Down one goal, I was feeling very optimistic. But beginning of the second half, we see a substitution, which some RSL fans were kind of upset about. We see Diego Luna come off.
What are your thoughts with Diego Luna coming off?
It was Luna for that was for Gomez, correct?
Yes.
For Gomez, I was actually happy about that substitution because Luna is not the type of player who is a fast player. Obviously, we know what he can do with the ball, with his footwork and all that. But when it comes to speed, he just doesn't have the speed. So I think that switch of having Gomez come in for speed was a good switch.
In theory, it was a good switch.
But I think
Because
I think it might have been too early.
could be. I mean, it could have been too early. I don't know because the first half Luna was just disappeared. In his 45 minutes, he made 10 accurate passes. 10 passes. So that's one pass every 4 minutes.
He didn't even have a single shot. Did not even have a single shot in 45 minutes.
It was like I said, I think even the heat got to him, even though he's lived in Texas for a long time. It
No,
even
but
got to him.
for sure, I would have rather seen 55th, if that. Let Luna play an extra 10 minutes or so to see if they can get something with him in the game, but that wasn't possible. It was Gomez right off the bench to start the second half.
Right. And so with Gomez coming in, like you said, it was supposed to be for speed. Um, I didn't see much out of Gomez either.
No, no, not at all. It was everybody who's Gomez going down the list of players MIA in the match.
Yeah. And so with with that change, I mean that was our first change. Um, that first change didn't really help us out. But for some miraculous reason, or I don't know how we did it, but we got a goal.
The soccer gods were on our side, and it was well back up really quick. We have Anderson Julio. He comes into the game. I think he comes in for Krylock, who was not doing the greatest, as you said.
Right.
He Krylock only had, if I look back, he had 7 for 10 for 70% in 56 minutes, which very sad, very not a great performance by Krylock. Anderson Julio comes in to take the spot for Krylock, and Anderson Julio does what he does best, coming off the bench and scoring goals.
Yeah. So um Anderson Julio, thank heavens, got that goal at that time. It gave us
Clutch.
it gave us new hope, but I don't think it got us clear of everything that was coming at us.
No,
We ended up making, in fact, out of our how many were on the bench? Seven. Out of the seven that were on the bench, um, we substituted everyone but Gavin Beavers. Everyone was used in this game.
I think Gavin Beaver should have come in the game too.
But I mean, I don't know if you saw on social media, but there were some complaints of why are you going to put in Chang? Why are you going to put in Silva? Um, who else do you want us to put in? We used everyone.
It's like
I mean, sorry to be a little facetious there, but I mean, I'm thinking to myself, okay, who do you want to put in? There's no one else on the bench.
do you want Pablo in the game? Like,
Um, so we get Danny, we get Musovski in the game. I think a little late. What was it, around 75th minute? Um,
yeah,
Chang also goes in. Gomez goes in. Or sorry, Gomez was already in. Palacio goes in.
Palacio goes in.
So we get all those players in and nothing. We can't produce anything. In fact, if we look at um the sorry, I'm gonna end the regulation. I'm gonna go straight to first extra time because
No,
we're
nothing really happened after Julio's goal until the 90th minute. It was us just us just chasing, us just surviving for that 1-1.
first. first half of extra time, it was probably our worst showing that whole game. Um, we had 21% possession, 16 passes in 15 minutes.
I don't think I've ever seen in a lot of RSL games that low of passes in 15 minutes. Do you recall a time where we've only had 16 passes in 15 minutes?
No. And we only had one shot. I don't know. I
Like,
can't I
like,
can't
like I,
remember that shot.
like I can understand the shot, but still, 16 passes in 15 minutes. That's ridiculous. Where they had 91 passes.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Um and what was worse about that half was that it ended with them scoring a goal at the end of that half.
Yes, that was
Just like the end of the first half.
well.
They
That wasn't just a goal. That was a rocket. Carrasquilla, like Coco Carrasquilla, left wide open, just top of the box, just slots one home, gets it right past McMath. Nothing that the defense could do about that.
Are you kidding me? There was nothing. Look, you had if you look at the
Well,
replay,
no one steps up to stop him.
Palacio kind of let him run through and then was kind of jogging behind him. Glad didn't step up. Vera didn't step up. There were three people, three RSL players around him, and they didn't pressure. There was no
Yeah,
high pressure.
it's like there's a reason that this guy is getting looked at by La Liga. Like step up and put some pressure on him, and nobody did, and he slots one home to then give Houston the lead in the 105th minute, right at the close of the first extra time.
Yeah. And so oh, and so with that, we're now down 2-1 going into the second extra time.
And that's
I'm
when things were still down 2-1, but the possession and the passes are a little bit better ish compared to the first extra time.
Let's be real here. This turned into desperate RSL.
Oh,
This was the RSL that we wanted to see fighting in the first half, in the second half. All of a sudden, RSL like says, "Oh yeah, we got to fight for this." And what happened? They literally fought.
they literally did fight, which I don't ever want to see that happen out of any of your any favorite club. And Brian Vera just literally just elbows
Well,
elbow to the
yeah, he lost his cool.
he lost
He,
his cool, elbow, second yellow, straight early trip to the shower, to the locker room.
So the VAR situation afterwards was to determine whether it was a second yellow or a straight red.
Which
Why does it matter
yeah,
in this tournament? It
you're
doesn't.
you're just wasting time. Like just let the game flow along. Like come on.
Well, it it matters, and I'll tell you from a referee perspective because it depends on the if it's a
Oh the
direct red, it'll be it's not substitution, it's suspension wise.
yeah. But at that point, I feel like didn't really matter as much. So
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter in terms of RSL right now because they were already eliminated.
yeah,
Well, looking at it now, yes, they were eliminated at that point. So Vera was going to be suspended next game anyway.
yeah.
But now,
So
he
uh,
could be suspended if when Open Cup happens next year, he could be suspended multiple games.
yeah. So 125th minute, then to put the nail on the coffin, Houston Caicedo just buries it to give them the 3-1 lead to close out the match. And
I would have liked that fight of RSL, not like the actual physical fight, but
no, yeah, I get that fight, that drive, that tenacity in that
that
second extra that second
that
extra time.
no, I wanted that whole game. I wanted that fire the whole game. I mean, the only reason why Vera got that way was because they had fouled and knocked over Palacio. Whistle
Yeah,
was blown, but Vera decided to take justice into his own hands.
yeah,
Um, and so I needed that the whole game. And unfortunately, it was not there. Pablo even said it. He said that there was effort, but it was not good enough. You know,
no.
I mean, if it was good enough, we would be moving on.
But
Um, but it wasn't even one of those that we'll take the L, but we played our hardest. It was there was zero. There was a big fat goose egg. There's nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunate, but you can get sad and about this and wallow in self pity, thinking what ifs, what if we would have won? We played Messi, Concacaf, all those things, but we need to brush it off and move on to the next match and just focus on the regular season from here on out.
Yeah, I needed that minute, or I say minute, it's been like half hour or something like that. I needed that to just vent because really there's a lot of things that went on. And it's like, I've been preaching this on Twitter. We need to move on. We need to find the positive. We need to figure out how to correct these errors because we have a quick turnaround.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We literally same team. So once again against Houston on Saturday. I was kind of telling it to you earlier today, but with this loss last night and a lot of RSL fans kind of down in the dumps, thinking this is the end of the world, woe is me, all these things. Something that RSL fans need to focus and remember is the theme of our song. What we sing every game when we score, before games, after games, whenever it is, at home games, is believe. And that's what we need to focus as a club. Believe. Like if we want to think that this club is team is the star, and that's how it begins is believing in this club, in this fan base, in this ownership.
Yeah. Um, and that goes back to what we were saying before. It's okay to be upset. I
Yeah,
mean, we're fans. We can be upset at all this.
yeah,
We should take into consideration that these players are also devastated. They they know this is their job. So,
absolutely. You
um,
saw from Savarino's post on Instagram today. He didn't look happy at all. He was apologizing to the fans and the community that they could have done better.
yeah, they could have and should have done better. Um, but because of the nature of their job, they have to move on and quickly. Um, so we have the game Saturday against the same opponent. And this is now a mental game. This is now can we um can we get over this horrible loss with so much on the line and turn it around and get something positive at
Yeah,
home.
because if you literally can't, this is gonna be haunting you not just for this game, for Wednesday's game, for the rest of the season. Because you just gotta brush it off and then just focus on this regular season. Because right now we're sitting in a good spot in the Western Conference, third place, four, no, 7 points out from first place. So that's our main focus from here on out.
And it should be. I mean, we had a good end of April to mid July. We had a great time during then. Um, because it, we got into Leagues Cup.
Yeah,
Leagues Cup killed us, really. And so when we got into Leagues Cup, all of a sudden everything fell apart. Everything that we had been doing for the past 2.5, almost 3 months went to. We did good against Seattle,
yeah,
but then the following two games were horrible. Plus, now this game, we need to find our mojo again. And
exactly.
I think we can do that by um, figuring out our midfield situation. If we can figure out our midfield situation, we'll be golden.
Yeah.
If we can figure out how Ojeda, Palacio, and Lafelson can work together, my friend, we will be back on all pistons firing.
So let's start with Houston. With their lineup. Obviously, in last night's game, they went with a strong lineup with Herrera, with Baird, with Carrasquilla, with Arthur. Do you see? We kind of talked about it already um, before the show, but do you see them kind of going with this top six, or do you see some of them sitting out for Saturday's match?
So that this was a question that both of us had, and we had our different thoughts. So my
Mm-hmm.
thought is these guys just played two straight games at home,
Yeah,
um, and they had dominant performances in each one.
yeah,
I think that there's going to be some starters that will stay home. I'm not sure which ones. I,
Or
I
not
can't I, I
not
can't
even
tell you.
make not even make the trip to Utah.
I don't I in fact I would say no, only because and this is a pure speculation. Um Looking at their schedule, they they come out here after just
Hmm.
playing two straight games at
Yeah.
home, especially this last one in the heat where they went 120. They went all out.
Hmm.
Um, but then they go back home on Wednesday. I think they're gonna leave some starters at home.
That would make the most sense. I would like that honestly. I would not want to see the top six heavy players come out. We'll obviously we'll probably see a different keeper. We saw Andrew Tarbell start this game, well, yesterday's game. Clark, who is their normal starter, probably will get the start for Saturday. I assume.
Um, could be. I
Yeah,
mean,
could be. And then let's switch over to RSL. We kind of, you and I have talked about this. We've been going back and forth. Um, I This is the game where we might be seeing a lot of players on the bench, a lot of players resting, different players. Who do you see in this back line? A completely different back line, or do you see kind of similar?
um, I think if I were Pablo, um, and seeing how Vera reacted and how he's playing, I think I might sit him out on this one to cool him down, to refocus him. I would maybe just do a Glad Silva or throw in Cave on. Why not? Throw in Lambert in there and do a
Yeah,
Glad Lambert.
yeah.
Um, I'm not sure if we're ready for that. We might just save that for a game against a worse opponent. I'm totally speaking honestly at this
I
point.
I think that this is the game where I want to see Lambert get the start because it's like why not? If not now, then when? So I think like maybe a Silva Lambert or a Glad Lambert would be a great pairing right there in center back.
I wouldn't mind seeing Lambert give wait, don't put him in this game. Put him in against Portland at Portland.
Yeah, why not? And then when it so this would be a perfect game to have Kayvon start or Kevin Kayvon. No,
Something like that.
to have either him or Glad or him or Silva. And then on our wings would be ideally to have either Oviedo or Hidalgo because we saw Brody and Anelli go full on out in our last match.
I really think we need an outside back change. I think this sounds sad, but I think Brody is on his way out to the bench. And Nelly
You
had a lot of potential.
you, you think so?
Look, I've never really trusted Brody to be honest. Here's my honest, brutal
It, it,
opinion.
is it mainly for the fact of going back to playing LAFC, getting beat by Bowanga and other players? Is that the main factor of it?
My my worry with Brody, and I can only think of the Spanish word in my head, but my worry with Brody stems from like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And here's where I people are gonna get upset with this. I have a lot of really hot takes. Um,
You've been having a lot of hot takes today, haven't you?
if people would like get inside my head, I don't think they'd agree with a lot of things. My
I
hot take is
probably
this with Brody. I've never trusted him because he comes from the Monarchs.
well, that's a lot of our young players. Like look at Jay Glad.
Jay Glad
Like
never came from the Monarchs.
yeah,
He came straight from the academy.
the very if I don't think you know this, but the very first goal of the Monarchs was scored by Jay Glad. Yeah,
My friend, I was on the very first Monarchs game in their history.
Jay Glad scored that.
We're gonna need
Okay,
we need to debate that afterwards because I
but
don't believe you. Um, again, I don't trust a lot of the players that came from the Monarchs. I really don't, and that
no,
includes
but
Chang. That includes all of them.
no, this would be a good game to see Oviedo on the left and Hidalgo right there, just to have a little bit of a change, to have our bench players get that experience, to get some playing time.
I mean,
But
it's not.
then
I don't think it's about getting experience. It's just that
no,
what we
it,
have
it,
right now
it
is not working.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then switching over to the midfield, would you want to see Luna play, because he only did play 45 minutes in last game?
You want to really know my opinion? I'm so lost with this team right now. I don't know where they're gonna dig out their motivation. I'm I'm trying to be positive right now, but
Dude,
I haven't seen Luna play a positive game in 3 games, or sorry, 2 games, because he didn't even play against LAFC.
yeah,
Um,
that's
I
true.
I'm not seeing any positives right now with a lot of individuals. And Pablo mentioned this in his post game. He says there might be a change of formation or a change of personnel. So I'm not sure who is going to be quote unquote worthy to be in that first 11. We could see
Yeah.
Ojeda sit in the bench, and we could see a Lawfulson Palacio. We could. We could see Chicho's right in the bench, and we see Julio and Rubin starting. I don't know how extreme Pablo's gonna take this with this game.
This is a game. This hurts me to say, but this is a game where I do possibly, it would make the most sense to see Rubin get the start, because Rubin hasn't had much playing time. He didn't make the trip to go to Houston yesterday, so I could see him possibly getting the start for Saturday.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm not sure if there's Pablo probably trusts his players. He probably does. As a
Yeah,
fan base, there are players right now that we don't trust on the field because we haven't had good games from them lately. We haven't. And for me, one of them, unfortunately, is Luna. Another one right now, it's unfortunate, Chicho. I don't see the spaz, or that's not the spaz. That's a bad
it,
word. Um,
in the time that we've had Chicho so far, in the month or so they've had him, he hasn't been the greatest on the road, because we've been a good team on the road prior to Chicho. He just hasn't shown that for us, because we went to LAFC, we went to Houston, and he didn't really contribute. He was really MIA in that time.
but why?
Well,
The,
going
the
into,
the 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 games that he was good, that even though he didn't score, the ones that he was making runs, who was in?
well, obviously Pablo Ruiz. Yeah, he was the contributor. He was the one that was orchestrating that offense, that midfield.
And he also had a good partner, a good teammate on his side, Moose. I can't remember if someone else started with Chicho. One of those games. I think it was a Rubin, but he in those games he's had Pablo Ruiz feed him, and Pablo Ruiz has been feeding other people, and they didn't have to worry about coming back and looking for the ball because Ruiz always had
Right,
the ball and moved it forward. Now we
right.
have no one that does that.
Yeah, this could be a game for Saturday that we do see a totally different switch from defense to the midfield, but we could totally be wrong. Pablo probably is like, hey, I'm gonna still go guns a blazing. I'm gonna still play some of these still same players, but who knows? Pablo has done crazier things.
Yes, yes, he has. All that's left is just let's just stay positive. Let's stick to what we are, and that is to believe.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have 10 games left in the season.
Do
Can you
we?
believe that?
Do we that?
I think that's what you told me earlier today, right?
Maybe I miscounted. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 7.
Oh, 7 games, including Saturdays, and that's that. We have 5 at home.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, 4 at home. So we have 7 games left. So
Oh, we have 8. No, we have
oh,
7. Where's the LA game from Sunday? Hmm.
it's the very last one. It's the 21st or the 14th.
Guess what?
It's 8.
Bot Mob has another page. 7, 8, 9, 10. There is 10. I was right.
I said 10 originally, so thank you very much.
You said, and I quote, you said that there was 10 games left.
Okay,
Ah,
but anywho, so there are 5 and 5, 5 away, 5 home left. So the possibilities are endless. Points are out there. We are 7 points from first, 6 points from ninth. So it is going to be a race for any playoff spot out west.
it's true. It's
It's
true.
true. So what we need and what we need from you guys RSL fans is to fill the right for these last 5 home for last 5 games, just so then we can secure a spot for a playoff game, because we haven't had a home playoff game in a couple seasons, and that would be electric. We need that atmosphere back here at the Riot for the rest of the season.
Yes, yes. We need to believe in this team. Get get over being angry right now, because right now the team needs us Saturday. They need us.
They need us for the rest of the season to believe. Yes, it's sad we lost last night. Yes, it's sad that Pablo is out the rest of the season, but believe this team can do it, because we are building. We have great momentum. Third place. It doesn't get better than that.
Well, it does first place, but
First place. Hey. And it doesn't help. It also doesn't help that LAFC dismantled Colorado Rapids last night too.
yeah. So we kind of need to pick up the pace.
You know what? You know what time it is, my friend?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. It is prediction time.
Oh my gosh. That was your inner Whitney Houston.
You're welcome.
Go
Okay.
ahead. You do it.
Well, my friend, we're playing same team, different venue this time. Not in Houston. No hot, no humidity. We're gonna be at the Riot. Hopefully, packed, tons of fans. But I think it's gonna be a wholly different team, different lineup. I'm still not set on this, so give me a 1-1 draw.
Hmm.
Give me a 1-1 draw for Saturday.
Oof. That's a all right. Um, everything that you just said, there's no weather conditions that we need to worry about. I think there's going to be a different team out in the field. I think there's going to be a chip on our shoulder that we need to get a result for this team, especially after 3 straight losses.
Yeah,
So with that, it will be a close one, and I'm going with a minimum score. We're gonna go 1-0 for Real.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, it, we got to get it. We got to get it.
I got. Hey, a win's a win. Points are points. However they come, you got to take them. So with that,
With
be
that,
there. Be there 7:30 at America First Field. I'll be there. Alan will not, unfortunately.
no, I won't. But I do want to say thanks if you're still listening at this point. Um, that means that you really care about this club, not because we're talking, but because you believe in listening to everyone else's opinions and thoughts. That's the only way we can really get everyone meshed together is just listening to everyone. So
That
thank
is true.
you, thank you, thank you. And hopefully we keep having you listen to us.
Very true. With that being said, if you're not already, follow us on X, on Threads, on Instagram at the RSL Bros. And if you're watching this video, hit the subscribe, hit the bell, and hit the notifications if you want to know when we tweet. And also, if you're going running errands, all those things, catch us on the go on Spotify. Put in your headphones while you're on the treadmill at the gym.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Gee whiz.
Hey, but we'll catch you guys next time as we break down Saturday's match. Until then, you guys, take care. Ka-chow!
Chachoo!